Welcome to a few bookish days in my life. I feel like I have so many updates that are bookish related, so we're going to be yapping a lot in this video, talking about what I'm reading, what other bookish things I have going on, and just catching up. A lot has been going on, starting with we moved into a new house, so lots of moving boxes. These are all filled with my books. And this wall is where I'm gonna have all my new bookshelves going. I am getting the IKEA Billy bookshelves again. You've probably seen the background in my videos changing a lot the past few months because this is the second time that we've moved in a couple months. But we're in a new house, and even though I had to get rid of my bookshelves, which was so sad because I loved my home library setup, I am very, very excited to be once again building my dream home library in this new space. It's currently Thursday. The bookshelves are scheduled to come on Monday, and then we'll have to put them together. I'm gonna make a video organizing all the books on my bookshelves, unpacking them all. I got rid of about half of them for the move. I think I had 13 of the narrow IKEA Billy bookshelves, whereas now I'm getting 3 of the narrow bookshelves and 2 of the wide ones, which equates to about 7 narrow bookshelves. So pretty much half, and I think that should be what I'm gonna need. I am gonna add the extensions on top of them, so that'll be really nice. I'm doing the same dark wood color that I had before. But this whole wall is where they're gonna be going, and then that's gonna be my little reading corner over there. Another big life update. I am 3rd trimester now. I have not officially said on this channel that I am pregnant, but I am. So I'm very tired, very nauseous, getting very big at this point. So my husband will be helping me with putting the bookshelves together. I have been reading a little bit less than I would like so far in 2026, but the moves, pregnancy, having a toddler, those are all some of the reasons that I have not been reading quite as much. Still reading, just not as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. Lots of good stuff going on. I just got this pink throw blanket and it's so soft, so comfy. This was from Aldi. I feel like sometimes they have really neat random stuff, especially seasonal stuff. So got this, love it. Have been reading right here. And what I'm currently reading, Morning Star by Pierce Brown. I am finally continuing the Red Rising series. I've been meaning to do this for years now, over a year at least, but it is so good. I'm almost done with the book. I think I only have about 60 pages left. It's about 520 pages, and I am currently on page 459. So crazy things are happening the whole book. So many plot twists, betrayals, tragedies, epic moments, but I am loving it. It's so good. Crazy stuff is happening in the book right now. Shocking twists. So I'm definitely going to be finishing this today. I will, of course, tell you what I rate this at the end, but I have a strong feeling this is going to be a 5-star. That's how I've been feeling the whole time I've been reading it. I was worried going into this book because I loved Red Rising and Golden Sun so much. The first 2 books, rated both of them 5 stars, and I was worried that I had built up so much hype and expectation around the next book and put off reading it, and worried that it wouldn't live up to what I expected of it, but it totally has. It's so good. I am absolutely loving this book. My husband has already read this book, so it's been really fun to chat with him about where I'm at in the book and what I'm thinking. Meanwhile, he just started reading Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas in preparation for ACOTAR 6 and 7, which we finally have the names, the titles of the book, and the covers for the next 2 ACOTAR books coming out later this year and the beginning of 2027. So excited about that. But I've seen so many mixed opinions from people. I don't think anyone really concretely knows the answer, but of people saying that you need to read the whole Crescent City series and or the whole Throne of Glass series before reading the next ACOTAR books, which is a huge commitment and kind of unclear if that's really necessary. What we were gonna try and do is read the Crescent City series before then, but there's just no way we can read that and Throne of Glass. At some point, would love to read the Throne of Glass series, but each of the Crescent City books are huge. So this is already a big commitment. There are 3 Crescent City books. I haven't read it yet. I have not even started the series yet. I'm all caught up on the ACOTAR series, thankfully. I did read A Court of Silver Flames earlier this year and loved it. But I don't know, especially with the covers being revealed and the titles, I feel like that's mixing up people's opinions on whether they think it's necessary to read Crescent City and Throne of Glass before the next ACOTAR book. So if you have read both of those series, let me know what you're thinking. Without spoiling the books, why or why not do you need to read Crescent City and or Throne of Glass before the next ACOTAR book? Because I'm so unsure. Would really love to read this series before then, planning on it, but there are also so many other good books coming out this fall. Other books on my TBR cart that I already own, and I just want to leave time for those other books too. So how much do I need to prioritize reading this before I read the next ACOTAR book? I don't know. I don't know that anyone knows for sure. I don't think we really can know until the book's actually out and we've read it. I thought maybe Sarah J. Maas had said you need to read this before then at some point, or at least vaguely hinted at it. But then when I was trying to look that up again, I couldn't find where I saw that. So I don't know how much of that is just speculation or not. This book is nearly 800 pages and my husband's loving it. I'm sure it's a great book. I'm excited to read it. I just don't want to rush through it. Now that we've gone over what I'm currently reading, let's go over what I'm going to be reading next. I have 3 books checked out from the library right now. The first of which is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. This one has been so popular. I've seen this everywhere, but I've seen very mixed reviews about it. I was really interested by the premise when I first heard about this book, and now I'm not so sure about it, but we'll see. I'm planning on reading this book next, right after finishing Morning Star, so possibly we'll be starting this one later today. Next, To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. This is a dystopian book that I've had on my TBR for a while. I'm very excited about it. This is also such a pretty copy with the sprayed edges. It's a dystopian romance set in a world where there's a prison in which the wealthy hunt the inmates for sport. That just sounds super interesting to me. I love dystopian books. Very, very excited to finally be getting to this one. And then we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is a gothic romantasy. I will be reading this for a book club, so that's just a great excuse to finally be getting to this book. But this cover's so pretty too. This is a duology, and the sequel, The Knave and the Moon, is coming out in September. So perfect time to be reading the first book. I went to a little free library this week, dropped off a bunch of books. I had a bunch of extra copies of Harry Potter that I had picked up from a library sale, so I put those in, and then I got Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This is a play following Draco's son and Harry's son years later when they go to Hogwarts. I did see the play last year, so I am curious to read it. I feel like that's also fun to be reading a play. It's formatted very differently than a typical book. It takes place 19 years after the Deathly Hallows. Behind me, I have my TBR cart. These are the only books that I have unpacked so far. Until I get my bookshelves on Monday, I won't be unpacking any more books because I just don't have the space for it. But I did recently buy a bunch of books, so I do want to do a little book haul of the new books on the TBR cart. I'm kind of confused because I thought I got 8 new books, but I only have 6 next to me that I pulled off the cart that I remember getting recently. So the other 2 might still be in boxes, I don't know. The 2 books that I do not have in front of me that I recently bought are Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter and The Book of Azrael by Amber B. Nicole. But here are the other 6 books that I just bought. All of these are romantasy. I have very much been in a romantasy mood lately. I feel like this whole year I have been. Last year was very much a sci-fi year for me. And that's not to say I didn't read romantasy last year or that I'm not reading sci-fi this year, but I've just been very drawn to romantasy books lately. So I got A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. The edges on this one are so pretty. The inside is gorgeous as well. I have not bought books for a while, so very excited to have some new ones. Then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book in a series. I think a lot of these are the first book in series, actually. Maybe all of them. So lots of new series that I will be starting soon. Next I have Light Lark by Alex Astor. This is a young adult book. I saw this one for so long and just did not pick it up. But I also got her newest release, which is Starside. And getting this book, which I'm very excited about, I wanted to go ahead and read her other very popular series as well. But this one, new release, also has gorgeous edges. The second book in this series, Stormside, is coming out early next year, which is very exciting. Then we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is another one where the sequel just came out. I've been seeing that talked about everywhere, and it convinced me to go pick up the first book. This is a very long book. It's about 700 pages, and I've heard the writing is very lyrical. So that's something to know before getting this. I know there's been mixed reviews because a lot of people feel like it felt very long, very slow, but I think that is by design. There is a map at the beginning of the book. So pretty. And then lastly, I got Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Marer. I think this is such a cool edition of the book. So honestly, that was a big part of me buying this one. I had this on my list. I've been wanting to read it, so I'm not saying I bought it just because of how it looked. However, before picking the 8 books that I bought, I had 25 books in my shopping cart that I wanted to buy. And so when I narrowed it down, I did lean a little bit more towards the pretty looking ones because I want to read them all. But for the ones I was going to buy, what swayed me between getting a copy from the library to read or owning it, some of these covers and the edges did convince me. So those are all the books that I just bought. I feel like that was so many Bookish updates all at once, but it's been crazy busy. All good stuff, just there was a lot to update you on. Ooh, also very much in the mood for fall, and this is another new throw blanket I just got from Aldi. This was only $5 and it's so soft, so cute, but I'm so excited for fall. I have fall candles out. I just got this little ghost from Aldi too. So this is on our fireplace mantle. It's so cute. They had a bunch of them, but I really liked the one with the little cat. So adorable. Once I have my bookshelves, I'm planning on getting some fake candles to put on the bookshelves to decorate them, make it really cute. But yeah, that's what's going on. I'm gonna go keep reading Morning Star, and I will update you when I finish it. I did finish reading Morning Star last night, and this book was so good. The ending, the last 100 or so pages, I could not put the book down. So much was going on, so much was happening the entire book. There were lots of plot twists, so much stuff happening that just had me hooked. It was very emotional. The ending also just so crazy, but also felt so full circle to the first book in the series. So I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. I did just go ahead and update my reading journal as well. So I'll show you real quick what I did to add this book in there. Morning Star was my 25th read of the year. So I put this in my spread of all the books that I have read in 2026. I like to put a little picture of the book. I feel like that's just very aesthetic to look back on. I love how the spread ends up looking as it gets filled up with more and more books. I put the title, the author's name, my star rating, the date that I finished reading the book, what format I read the book, so I read the physical book, how many pages it was, and then the genre. I also have a series tracker of some of the series that I'm in the middle of. I don't think this list is comprehensive, but it's a lot of the series that I'm kind of in the middle of and actively planning on finishing this year. There are more series that I'm in the middle of, but I kind of realized I only left a small amount of space to list all these series, and I would not be able to fit all of them, so I had to narrow down which ones I wanted on this page. But I did get to fill in another circle for the Red Rising series. Also for these 3 series that I have highlighted, I was planning on having those marked as series that I'm completely caught up on, but all 3 of those have more books releasing this year, so that's not entirely accurate. That kind of changed from when I was caught up. Now I'm not, or I guess I am, but by the end of the year I'll need to read more books to be caught up. That's just how it goes with series, but I do love reading series. Then I got to add Morning Star to my 5-star read spread. I've actually had so many 5-star reads this year. I've had 13 of them, which, considering I've read 25 books, that's about every other book has been a 5-star read for me, which I feel like means that I know my book taste pretty well. I'm very happy with that. I try to read critically, rate appropriately for how much I've enjoyed the book, but also how well written it was. And there's just a lot of good books out there, so I'm not gonna limit the number of 5 stars that I'm giving. I think if a book earned a 5-star, it gets a 5-star. Morning Star was also on my 26 books to read in 2026. I've actually done a horrible job sticking to this list, but that's okay. The books that I thought I'd want to read when I made this list last year have kind of changed. I'm still interested in a lot of these books, but there are just other ones that I've prioritized over these because I've been more in the mood for different ones. So Morning Star is only the 3rd book that I've checked off on this list this year, but I added my star rating right below the picture. Then the last spread that I updated was my monthly wrap up. I don't add all the pictures until the end of the month, so this is what a finished month would look like. But I do track the days that I spent reading each book. So I went ahead and added a line for Morning Star based on when I started the book and when I finished it, so I can kind of see how long it took me to read each book. And as you know, this month has been very crazy, moving, pregnancy, travel, so I did not do an August TBR, but very soon I will be picking my September TBR, which is so exciting. It's later in the day and I did start reading Yesteryear. I am currently 52 pages in, so just a little bit. I think this is 400 pages, so an eighth of the way through the book. And unsurprisingly, I have mixed feelings on it so far. Our main character is very unlikable, and I think that's okay, but the way she's presented as being unlikable because she's a trad wife, because she's a Christian, I don't like that. It seems like the author has a very negative and skewed misperception of Christians and is painting them in a very negative light through the main character. The way that Natalie is described, the way she thinks, is not at all Christ-like and not an accurate portrayal of Christians. On one of the very first pages, page 4, Natalie says, "And who was I? A flawless Christian woman." And that is just such an oxymoron. She's so rude, so judgmental, so full of herself and prideful. It's just a very negative headspace to be in, which again, I think is fine. I just don't like the commentary that seems like the author might be making against Christians with the way it's written. So that's my biggest critique. Apart from that, I feel like it is an interesting and compelling thriller. I'm invested. I want to know what's going to happen to her. I do think if she were a likable character, we would care more about her and care more about the horrific situation that she's in. But regardless, I want to know how she got to where she's at, what's going on. The premise is that she's a trad wife and then she wakes up transported back in time to the 1800s. She's in her home, her kids are her kids, but not really. Everything's a little bit different, kind of uncanny valley. There's no electricity. Her home looks different. Her husband acts different towards her. As a thriller, so far, I do think it's written well. It's written in a way that's creepy. She is afraid of the situation that she's in because she's so unlikable. I would love, if where this book goes, is that we see her grow and learn a lot from the experience and become a better person, more Christ-like, more humble. But I don't think that's the direction the book is heading. We'll see. Like I said, very mixed opinions so far, but I am intrigued. In other news, I know I started this video with a book haul, but I did buy more books last night. I did not set out intending to do so, but I was ordering something I needed on Amazon and there was some crazy promotional deal on a bunch of books. I think it was all the books were discounted, and then on top of that it was buy one get one 50% off. So I think I got 7 books, 6. But we're gonna finish this video the same way we started, with another book haul. All of these were books I have been wanting to read or thinking about buying at some point and did not get. It wasn't every book that was included in the promotional deal, but there were a lot of good ones in there. All right. First up, we have Into the Fading Twilight by Catherine Cowles. This is the second book in the Starlight Grove series. I read the first book, Across the Vanishing Sky, earlier this year. Very good. It's romantic suspense. They're all interconnected standalones, so if you haven't read that one, you could still go and read this one. But in this book, we're following a romance between a girl who has this traumatic past. She has experienced being held captive. There's gonna be some other mysterious suspense going on in the book as well while working through that trauma. And it's a romance with, I believe, a single dad. Yes, single dad. The tagline on the back says, "She's known nothing but darkness for 413 days, but he'll burn down the world to save her." She spent a year in captivity and now she is an adrenaline junkie. And this single dad has made it his mission to protect her, but dangerous things come. So excited to read this. I have read other books by Catherine Kells before as well and love them. I love the way she writes romantic suspense, which is also just such a fun genre. And I absolutely love this cover. Gorgeous sprayed edges. So beautiful. She already has the third book in this series coming out later this year. That's 3 books in this series all in 1 year. So good. This is one of those series that I had on my reading journal series tracker that I had marked as all caught up to date, and then more books were announced, so I'm not caught up anymore, but I would like to be. Then we have The Names by Florence Knapp. This is a literary fiction book. It's following this child who has 3 different trajectories for their life based on if they were given a different name when they were born. It follows 35 years spanning 3 alternating versions of their lives, following the child and his mother. I feel like this is going to be emotional. I had checked out this book from the library a little while back, maybe a month or 2 ago, and I had to return it before I got the chance to read it. I've really been wanting to read this though. I've seen it a lot of places. I am super interested in the premise. It doesn't seem like a super long book either. It is a little bit over 300 pages, not long at all, but I feel like this one is gonna make me emotional. We'll see. Next up, we have Cult by Jessica Peterson. This one just came out, I think, just a couple of days ago. It is a cowboy romance. This one is also a single dad. He lost his wife. He has a son who's 6 years old. He works on a ranch. And then Lainey, the female love interest, is a city girl. Honestly, I was super drawn to the cover of this one. Gorgeous sprayed edges. I've been seeing this one promoted a lot, especially since it is a new release, and I've been wanting to read it. Can you tell that I'm super drawn to books right now about motherhood, romances with parents? It's the pregnancy hormones, but all 3 of these books that I just showed you involve parents and themes of motherhood. All right, then we have Half City by Kate Golden. Again, the sprayed edges, those are super trendy lately, and I wasn't sure how I felt about them initially, but now I love them. I think they're beautiful. I guess I will say, I think it is a little silly to just have plain sprayed edges, but when you have the cool designs like this, and just kind of another opportunity for artwork on the book, I love that. Just having sprayed edges one color though, I feel like that is just trying to go along with the sprayed edge trend without reason. But we are following a demon hunter girl who goes to an academy in this book. This one has been on my radar because the sequel is coming out in September. So I would like to read this before then, or at least sometime soon, so that I can read the sequel soon after when it comes out. Last book in the box. I'm still waiting on another book to come tomorrow, but we have the 3rd Crescent City book by Sarah J. Maas. This is House of Flame and Shadow. The 2nd book, House of Sky and Earth, I think. That might not be right, but I have that one coming tomorrow. That was what inspired me last night to order books, is seeing the 2nd and 3rd Crescent City books on there with such a good promotional deal. Since my husband's reading it right now, I want to read it soon, and these are thick books. Our library only gives us 2 weeks to read a book before we have to return it. So I kind of felt like we should own them, especially because we already own the first book but not the other two. I just wanted to have the complete series on my shelf. Those are all the books that I bought. I did also pre-order some books. I want to make a video soon going more in depth, talking about all the new releases coming out in the rest of 2026, this fall, and in 2027, because there are so many good ones. I have a very long list that I am looking forward to. So I will be doing that soon, but I will go ahead and tell you which ones I have already pre-ordered. These are all continuations of series that I have already read. So I feel pretty confident that these books are books I'm going to love and want on my bookshelves. But first is Burn of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is coming out September 8th in just a couple weeks. So excited. That is the 4th book in the Kindred's Curse saga that starts with Spark of the Everflame. I gave all 3 of the first books 5 stars. Love them. So excited for the series to be completed and to find out what happens. Then September 22nd, I have The Mirror of Infinite Endings by Stephanie Garber. This goes with the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which I loved, read all 3 of those books. This is an additional novella taking place after the trilogy. So that was a fun surprise to hear about that. Then October 6th, The Sixth Faction by Veronica Roth. This is a twist on the Divergent series. Basically, if Tris had made different choices, I think. It's set to be a duology, and the 2nd book is coming out in 2027. She just recently announced that. So I'm super excited about that. Then, of course, the 2 new ACOTAR books, A Court of Splintered Harmony and A Court of Forgotten Melody by Sarah J. Maas. We've already talked about these a little bit earlier in the video. Those are the 6th and 7th ACOTAR books coming out October 27th and then January 12th of 2027. So in very quick succession to each other. There is an 8th book, I believe, coming out eventually. We just don't really know anything about that one yet. And then December 1st, perhaps the book I have been most waiting for this year, Vine of Hearts by Julie Soto. This is the sequel to Rose in Chains, which is a dark romantasy that I read last year when it was newly released. Absolutely loved it and have been waiting for this release. I am so excited about all of these books. So very glad to have some new ones on my bookshelves. Excited to be getting bookshelves in just a few days. But now that we're settled in our house, lots of exciting stuff coming. Video talking about new releases, my September TBR, organizing my dream home library, going through all my books. So if you want to see any of that, be sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for joining me for these bookish days in my life. I will see you in my next video.